Hello, and welcome to my terrain generator. When you launch the program, you're brought to the Generation Settings menu. There are a bunch of sliders which affect different generation parameters, and you can see the effects of each slider in real time on this terrain tile here, but we'll cover that in a minute. For now, I'm going to generate a world. After a few seconds, the world has been generated based on the parameters that were just set. We can move around with WASD or arrow keys, and the world is continuously generating around us, so we'll never reach the edge. We have two sliders here, one for the time of day. As you can see, it gets dark and the position of the light moves. And one for the curvature effect. We can have a completely flat world, or one that resembles a small planet. And there's a reset button to return to the default values. Up here there's a button to hide the UI so you can better enjoy the scenery. So let's go back to the generation settings and we can go through what each one does. Starting with height, this is a multiplier which affects the relative height of each vertex on the mesh. Detail, this determines how many layers of Perlin noise make up our fractal noise. So with the lower detail, things are a lot smoother, and with the higher detail, we get this nice rugged appearance. Water level determines the height of the water, which affects the terrain colors and also where objects can spawn. The scale is sort of how zoomed in we are, so with the small scale we have these little islands. And with the large scale we've got much bigger islands. The gradient gives a more distinct difference between the mountains and the flatlands. It's a number that every vertex height is raised to the power of. Vertex heights are normally between 0 and 1, so lowering the gradient brings everything closer to 1. If we lower the gradient and generate that world, you can see that there are mountains and valleys everywhere. If we go back and increase the gradient, you can see that mountains become rarer and there are these large flat spaces between them, and this looks nicer in my opinion. Next is the bumpiness. This determines the relative magnitude of each layer of Perlin noise. If we turn it up, we can see that the world becomes very jagged, and if we turn it down, the world becomes smooth, which gives it a simple and stylized look. We can adjust the number of trees, and as you can see, trees will only spawn on grassland. We can also adjust the number of rocks, and rocks will spawn on seabeds and beaches. There's a reset button which sets every slider to the default value, and these are just values which I think produce a nice looking world. Thanks for watching.